Great. Welcome, guys, to this week's MSI demo. Today we don't have too much items on the agenda, but they are all interesting. And let me jump into the first one straight away. So this week was really focused on the quality, and by the quality, I mean we have really increased our automated test coverage. As you can see, we have a lot of functional test merge, which some of them cover multiple scenarios, some of them cover just one, but still a good increase. And we also have a lot of test pull request pending. For example, we have a GraphQL, which is nearly complete. GraphQL tests, I mean, and we have a bunch of API functional tests, which would ensure that our APIs are working correctly. This is currently an ongoing effort, but the details, numbers, and all of the interesting stuff will be shared later by Tom. The other major update from this week is that we had a discussion with the Architectural Council during the community architectural meeting on Wednesday, and we have brought up the question of the dependencies between Commerce Edition, B2B Edition, and MSI. As we have two pieces of functionality, at least two, which are advanced checkout, quick order, and the requisition list from B2B. They need additional modules to work with MSI correctly. So the question was, where should we put those modules, and are we able to create dependencies from B2B and from Enterprise Edition onto the MSI? So the decision ended up being that we are indeed able to put those connector modules into Enterprise and B2B, and that's pretty much the main reasoning is that B2B and EE still depend on Community Edition, which is already packaged together with MSI. So we pretty much had that dependency all the time, but it was not so explicit. So this is pretty much how it's gonna look. We're gonna have inventory requisition list in the B2B, and we're gonna have inventory advanced checkout in Commerce. Advanced checkout would enable order by SKU for Enterprise Edition and quick order for B2B Edition. And requisition list would also connect the existing functionality to the knowledge about multiple sources. Luckily, we already have some pull requests going on, one of which is support of MSI and B2B and Advanced Checkout. Ricardo was so kind to provide us with this code. And we already previously have done preparation work on this in the enterprise. So the all that's left is just to get it merged, test, and well, we'll be done. One more submission is from Lars. It's quite old one, back from the last year, but it's still actual. So I'll be contacting Lars to make sure that we can get it merged and, according to the new strategy, new modularity strategy. So this is something coming really soon. And at this point, I think it's all of the really major updates for this week. So now I'll be passing the word over to Alexander, who has been really working hard on the store pickup. This time we'll have some updates on the APIs, on how those APIs were simplified and how we're going to develop them in future. So Alexander, please take the stage.
Thank you, Evgeny. Hi, everyone. Today we are going to talk about updates in the in-store pickup implementation. I will share my screen. Second. Yeah. Okay. So this week we processed with pull request, which was related to refactoring of API implementation in Store Pickup. Directly, it was related to endpoint, which dedicated to provide list of nearest pickup location to the requested address. The idea that this endpoint is too complex and requires too many arguments to be passed, and we decided to switch it to the search criteria, which will provide possibility to compact our required and not required arguments in one simple object. And in the result, this pull request was merged, and now we have possibility not only specify address, and we have also possibility to add pagination for the search of nearest pickup location. Probably we have possibility to change sort order of a result which will be returned and add some filters. And after that, we decided that this is something which we don't want to have in this endpoint, and it leads to the new issue where we will decrease number of functionality which can be done with this endpoint. So the only will be available is to search nearest pickup location and add pagination for this endpoint. This is what we are going to finish next week. And also there are two pull requests which were done during last weeks. This one is related to shipping pricing, because currently we implemented functionality that provides a fixed price for in-store pickup delivery. This price is manageable from the admin panel, as for trades, for example. And this pull request, when it will be finished, will provide possibility for third-party developers and guys who build extensions to extend this functionality and add their custom rules. Also, it will provide possibility to specify in-store pickup delivery in sales rules, because for now this price is fixed and cannot be changed except that from admin settings. And the last one, the big pull request which is still in progress, is continuous implementation of in-store pickup. It's for coverage checkout, Magento checkout, and provide possibility to place full order cycle with using in-store pickup delivery method, but for now only with Magento API. So it's like a final boss, and I think in few weeks it will be also available in the module. So it is it for in-store pickup updates. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Alexander. This is really interesting. And actually, on a side note, having web APIs is a really important part of the store pickup for us, because we'll know that checkout is built on top of the Magento's REST APIs, and maybe we'll be migrating to GraphQL in future, but that's a separate topic. And well, actually, enablement of that web API is already a major step, which would just leave the UI work to complete before we can actually show each and every scenario. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay, and now we have one more unexpected change in the agenda. I'm happy to introduce Alex, who can demonstrate some of Magestore's extension and how it integrates with MSI, because we always welcome additional use cases, information on how people adopt MSI in their projects. So Alex, please take the stage. The word is yours.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Alex from Magestore. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. And today I'm very happy to show you the demo of our extension, and it works with the Magento MSI, and it provides a feature to allow you to transfer stuff between source of MSI, and it's allow you to select the product and specify the quantity of product to send from source to another source. And now I will share my screenshots to show how it works. Yeah, here our extension added a new menu item in the Magento backend like this, and you can choose the inventory transfer feature here. Yeah, it's a transfer history I make for my testing, and we can create the new stop sending. And here I can choose the source I want to transfer stock, and the source will receive the stock, receive the inventory. You can note the reason of this transferring here. And then you need to select the product to transfer. And here we provide you three options. You can scan the barcode here, or manually select the product from a grid like this. In the case you just want to send a few of products to another source, you can use this feature. And you can also upload a CSV file in case you want to send many items to another source. And we also provide this template of CSV file you can download and just add more SKU and as is the quantity you want to transfer. Or you can choose I already prepare a CSV file, and now I will upload it. And then you can see all the items in the CSV file loaded into the grid here with the SKU and the quantity to send. And you can also scan the barcode like this. Oh, sorry. Yes, I try to scan the barcode of the item here, and you can see it's added to the list. It's quite fast, right? And after scanning the item, you can manually enter the quantity you want to transfer to another source.
If you don't,
After,
if you don't enter a quantity there, will it just transfer all of the available items?
yeah, after that you can save, and it not already transfer, just save the information here. And then you can choose the send button here, yeah, to confirm to send the item to the destination.
What I mean is if you had a quantity of 100 on the product and you don't type a number in, will it send 100 or it will send 0? It will not do any.
You can choose send 0 or 100 or just maybe 10 of, I mean, you can make the send partial of the item, not all the item on the source.
Right, I understand you have control over it.
Mm-hmm.
My question was, what does it do by default? So if I don't put something in the field, how many are transferred?
So do you mean that you want to transfer all the item to source, or?
If I select a product, but then I don't
Mm-hmm.
enter a quantity to send, will it send
Mm-hmm.
any for that product or it will send 0?
Yeah, it's will be 0.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, yep. And after send, all the item will be deduct from original source, but it's not already received in the destination source. That means the source Tropicana will be decrease the stock, but the Peoria source, the inventory is just don't change anything, because you need to receive the stock to Peoria. So I will click on the receive, and I can scan the barcode or manually select the item here. And now I can enter the quantity of the item I received to the source. Yeah, and after save, this item will be received to the destination source. And I can also I can choose the receive all the item. So after that, all the item will be added to the destination source. You see the quantity to receive is 18 item. And in the grid, you can see all the items have been sent to destination and received at the destination source. Yeah. And after that, I have complete to this stop sending, and all the item has been sent from the original source to destination source. Yes, and here you can see the history of inventory transfer. Yeah, with this feature we provide, you can easy to send some specific item and quantity to from a source to another source. Very easy, and just by a few very quick steps. And that's everything I want to show you to demo to on you guys today.
This looks really cool. And I think I have one question. Do you handle the shipping process in any way, like some tracking numbers, or shipping methods, or does it like happen in the background without involving this transfer interface?
We don't record the shipping or anything like this. Just we just record the inventory and quantity of item to transfer. Yeah.
Do you do any reindexing as part of this transfer process?
Sorry, could
Yeah,
you
do you do any reindex as a part of what you demonstrated?
Oh yes, after complete the gentle stock, we will reindex the quantity in source and stock.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, yep. And our agency just work with source only. So after we make the change of inventory in source, we will reindex the data in stock of Magento MSI.
Thank you very much, Alex, for your presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Really exciting
welcome.
module. And as far as I know, you also have quite a large article on your blog. So if somebody is interested, it's quite easy to find, and I recommend looking into that as well.
Mm-hmm. And we can share some insight on this feature because many of our customer request this feature to MSI. I think MSI provide very bad architecture for inventory management, but I think it's like some feature for the merchant to manage their inventory, like stock alert and transfer stock or stock taking. And many of our customers request this feature. So it's the reason why we provide this feature to our customer. And I hope that one day we can provide and contribute this feature to MSI. We're very happy to do this.
So do you mean that you're interested in contributing this feature to like core MSI?
Yeah, if it's possible.
I'm pretty sure it would be possible, and I guess we're gonna have to talk more to Mark on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have a separate meeting on that, and also we'll want to have our designer just look at the screens and the flows. But it's very valuable feature.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Alex, if you don't mind, we'll set up some meeting and a call maybe next week, but we'll do that over Slack, okay?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great presentation. Okay, if nobody else has any questions to the extension, then we can proceed. And the last but not the least topic for today's MSI demo would be the quality update. And I'd like to welcome Tom, who is always doing that for us. So Tom, please, through the numbers.
Cool. Thank you, Eugene. Alrighty, let me get my presentation up here. Okay. Alrighty. So our regularly scheduled quality report. A couple of things to highlight this week. Sorry I missed last week. Change of metrics, so we've redone this a little. So, no, the wrong date. So what we're looking at here is the focus point is this gray line for automation. We have tracked up, for those of you who may have missed a couple of weeks back, the numbers in blue and orange, which is total and the manual not yet automated tests, have tracked down just because we're doing better reporting and recording. So that's a reflection that we're consolidating tests, tracking things properly as MFTF or manual only or web API or integration, and we'll see the use of that as we start tracking web API specific stuff later in the presentation. But right now we have a 155 to 165 increase between reports in the gray line, the automation. As you can see with our slowly climbing line over the last month, and that is our biggest single increase. So really great efforts made there. I know there's PRs in the queue to bring that number up further, but a really great increase in automation as we go forward. Okay, severity, unless you're very familiar with, you won't see we have changed severity very little. But in component, we've actually, the catalog number has come up slightly faster than the sales number. That reflects that there's been good catalog coverage. Sales are pretty well covered as it is, but an automation catalog is getting better coverage. That's what's come up with that additional automation coverage in the last week or 2 weeks. In terms of our manual testing then, So our component, again, basically reflects our split. There's a higher focus on sales with the manual testing right now. But what we have been doing is web API regression testing. Since we reported a full pass in our smaller regression cycle about 3 weeks ago, there's also been a web API regression cycle. That is a full pass, so big green circle, love to see it. But what's happening on top of that is now that we've split out tests and more accurately identified what is functional front end, so MFTF specific, what is very much a case for manual things with, user input setup, cron jobs, anything like that needs to run that we want to keep manual, we track that, but we're also heavily tracking what's a good use case for not only web API testing, so this manual number, this coverage that we've done manually, but also what we can put into web API testing and get that automated and kicked in our builds and PRs and everything. And there are PRs for that out right now. So while we haven't, driven that number up this week, that is in the pipeline, and we're going to see that coming, and that's going to give us great API as well as functional test coverage going forward. And I know Eugene the next week will be communicating with those PRs and making sure they get in, and that we can sort of drive that number up next week. As you'll see on the graph, that isn't specifically tracked. As that becomes a focus, we might stick a line on there to split out MFTF automation, web API automation, so we can see how our coverage is improving between each of those areas. But that's the essential updates for this week. More automation, better automation, web API automation coming in. And unless anyone has any questions, that's it for me. Alrighty, cool. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Tom. I'm really happy to see that we have some differences now in numbers. It's really exciting that now we can see the climb of the automation. So I guess at this point we can wrap up. Thank you very much for your time. I hope everyone enjoyed this demo, and see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.